I need to talk to you this morning about a serious condition. It's a condition maybe some of you suffer from in this room. It affects mostly men. Some of the men in the room probably, and maybe some of your husbands suffer from this. There's no shame in it. It's a condition called male pattern blindness. It's the phenomenon of not being able to see the mustard that's right on the door, or the shirt that's right there on the hanger, of not being able to see what's right in front of us. That's what seems to be happening to a lot of people in this interaction that we just read about in the book of John. It starts with a man blind, really physically blind from birth. But there are lots of other people in here who are blind in all kinds of other ways too, aren't there? Jesus' disciples have a type of blindness to them. They're missing something. They ask, why is this man blind? Did he sin, or was it his parents? They're operating from a common Old Testament perspective. Sin has punishments, and sometimes those punishments, the punishments of a parent, show up in the child. They were operating based on what they knew. But underneath that, there was probably an attempt to make things neat and tidy, to find a clear-cut, clean reason why this happened, to make hard things more manageable, less scary, by being able to put them into a neat box. It's an instinct that we have too, isn't it? And maybe some of us have been on the receiving end of that. But Jesus answers in a different way. He helps them to see something different, a way that's probably helpful for us to keep in mind too when we have that instinct to box things up, to search for that clean-cut cause. He says it wasn't because either one of them sinned, but that the work of God might be done. What that means is this unfortunate thing, a child born blind, it's not the result of anyone's sin. It happened because the world is broken. Bad things happen because we live in a world poisoned by rebellion. And since it happened, God will work in it. Having said that, he made some mud. He rubbed the mud on the man's eyes and gave him instructions to go wash in the pool of Siloam. And here's what I want you to notice about that. The blind man didn't ask for it. He didn't ask Jesus to put mud in his eyes, didn't ask him to heal him or make him see. It seems as though he knew of Jesus. He was able later on to identify him by name, but he didn't ask for it. You know, he had a hard life. He had a lot to worry about. He had to make a living, had to get around, take care of the things that he needed to take care of, and being blind made all of that even harder. And with all that on his mind, in the midst of all that he had going on, he probably just didn't think about it, you know? He didn't quite think to ask Jesus about it or to invite him in. That's one kind of blindness. It's not that he didn't want to see Jesus. He doesn't object when Jesus puts the mud on his eyes. He doesn't object when he tells him to go wash it off. It's not that he didn't want it. He just didn't really see Jesus, or at least didn't see him for who he was. He didn't see his power or his ability to help because he forgot to ask. I can identify that with that. Can you? How many times in your life have you had a challenge or a struggle, a worry, a concern, and you had a lot going on, a lot to take care of, many things on your mind, and you just sort of forgot to invite Jesus into it? Maybe you realized after some prolonged anguish and struggle that you'd forgotten to pray about it. Or maybe in the midst of your struggle, someone asked you, what's God saying to you? What's your devotion time revealing to you? And that's when you realized you didn't know because it didn't really come up. You hadn't thought about it. Have you been there? I have. Or are you there now? Is there a challenge or a worry you're wrestling with right now that you've forgotten to invite Jesus into? If you resonate with that like I do, here's the good news. Jesus didn't wait to be asked. He just did it. When the busyness and the stress of your life conspire to make you forget, Jesus is there with you. And while you're running hard on your own, he will be at work. Jesus doesn't wait for an invitation. He doesn't need permission or instructions. Go ahead and invite him in, even right now if you want to. Pray and hand it over to him right now. It's never too late to do that. He will always be there for you. Even if you've been handling it yourself for lots of years, he will always welcome you. He will be there. But also, he's not waiting around for you. His promise is, I am with you always. And he will be at work, sometimes in surprising, incredible ways, long before you ask and even if you forget to do it. That's what this formerly blind man found out. When other people who had known him to be blind, when they found that he was seeing, they brought him to the Pharisees, to the religious leaders. It's unclear exactly why they did that or what they had in mind there. Maybe it was a self-preservation move. There seems to be a lot of that going on in these readings. Or maybe they were expecting celebration. Maybe they were expecting praise to God for this incredible thing that had been done. Maybe they wanted to share the incredible, amazing experience with their spiritual leaders. If that's what they were expecting, it wasn't what they got. There isn't exactly agreement. There's division among them, but they have all kinds of excuses and plenty of questioning to do. What did he do? How did he do it? He obviously is not from God because it didn't happen in the way we think it should. Probably he wasn't actually blind in the first place. It's some sort of hoax. And we don't know where this guy Jesus came from anyway. All that stuff that they say in response to this incredible thing. And that last one, we don't know where this guy Jesus came from. That last one is particularly incriminating for them. There was a tradition among some Jewish leaders and scholars based around Micah 3 verse 1 that says God will come suddenly into his temple. And also a similar idea that when the Messiah comes, before the Messiah came, he would be hidden with God before his revealing. And so these scholars, they put these two ideas together to say that when the Messiah comes, they won't know where he came from. In fact, at other points in the Gospels, the Pharisees use that exact idea against Jesus. They say, we know your parents, you're the son of Joseph, and we know where you came from. We won't know where the Messiah came from, so you can't be the Messiah. So if they didn't know where this man Jesus came from, that should have been a further clue for them that he was the Messiah, that he was from God. All these things together, and especially that one, tell the story of what's going on here. They were blind in a different way, not because they forgot to look, but because they didn't want to see. It wasn't that they forgot to invite God in. They didn't want him in. Sometimes we fall on that side of the equation, don't we? Maybe there's something that you feel God calling you to do, but you're just not really interested, or you're trying to make it happen in your own way. That's my story. Maybe you're engaged in something you know isn't quite right. You know you shouldn't be doing it, but you want to keep on doing it anyway. Perhaps there's something you know you really ought to forgive, a relationship you should probably mend, but you aren't ready to let go just yet. Sometimes we don't want to see. Here's the good news for you there. The man can see. Whether those Pharisees believe it or not, whether they understand it or not, whether they like it or not, this man can see. Jesus did what Jesus did. You may protest, you may resist, you might not want it right now, but Jesus will do his work in you and for you and all around you. In spite of whatever you do or whatever you give him or don't give him right now, Jesus will be at work. In other words, the work of Jesus, the kingdom work of Jesus, doesn't depend on you. And there's freedom in that. You don't have to be a good partner or even a willing partner all of the time. Jesus is going to get done what he wants to get done. Just like that muster that was right there on the door the whole time, whether you forget to look for him or you don't want to see him, whatever your particular style of blindness is, Jesus is going to be there, walking beside you and doing his work. In his name, amen.